Stop recording button. Double tap to activate.
Hello, yarn lovers, my crafty and creative people. If you watched my last Whip Wednesday video, then you know what this video is all about. I hope you came in the mood to celebrate with me. Yeah, I'd sing that. There's lots of good songs about celebrating, but YouTube is pretty strict about copyright stuff. You know, music strikes on your channel, so we're not going to sing any songs about celebrating, but we are here to celebrate. So get your beverage of choice and come on in, get your project, hang out with me. You can get up and dance if you want, but like I said, we can't have music. YouTube's kind of strict. I wish we could have some music to celebrate with, but if you don't know what we're celebrating me being on YouTube for 90 days and putting up 50 videos in 90 days. Wow. That is more than I ever thought I would do. I seriously was like, one a week, maybe 2 a week, 3 a week. That was my goal. If I just stuck to my goal, we'd be celebrating 39 videos on my 90 days on YouTube. And would we really be celebrating that? Yeah, probably. 90 days on YouTube is still pretty cool. But I'm kind of an overachiever, so not too surprised that I reached 50 videos in 90 days. That's one video every 1.8 days. Wow, even I didn't expect that. Even I was like, what? I had to double and triple check. I had to go back and make sure what date did you upload your first video? February 22nd. So May 22nd, 90 days. I double checked and triple counted my YouTube videos. We're going to be at 50. But of course, I still am thinking about deleting 1 or 2 of my earlier videos. I'm always learning, always wanting to get better. But anyways, if you're new here and you're like, what's going on here? You just crashed the party and it's totally okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you choose to stay. And to all of my returning viewers, whether this is your second or your third or your fourth video or whatever, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for choosing to give me some of your time, to choose to hang out with me. Your time is valuable. We only have 24 hours in a day. So if you say, hey, I want that lady on for 30 minutes while I stitch, while I fold my laundry, while I clean my kitchen, whatever, we're hanging out, we're spending time together. And that's pretty cool. That's a privilege. So thank you so much for returning, for inviting me into your space. That's cool. And of course, you're into my space. Here we are. Yeah. So if you are new to my channel, and I always like to say thank you to my returning viewers, well, I briefly introduce myself to anybody who might be new. Hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love knit and crochet. And I also happen to be visually impaired. And yes, I'm colorblind. And yes, I'm blind by light. I have all kinds of vision issues. If you want all the details on that, you can watch my very first video. It's called Introduction. Hello, YouTube. And I tell you my visual diagnosis, which is optic nerve hypoplasia. My optic nerve never fully developed. It stopped developing before I was born. So I have a very primitive vision system. And so that's the deal with my eyes. Yes, I was born that way. Yes, my eyesight has continued to deteriorate over all 47 years of my life. Yes, I am 47. So, anyways, there's so much more to me than was even in that video. And I am definitely reflecting on that as I think about my 90 days here and my 50 videos. Now, of course, I love yarn. I've got a whole pile of my knits right here in front of me, right? All this stuff, because you know what? I kind of have an idea when I go into public. This is what I want to talk about tonight, but you know, I don't use notes. I mean, come on. So I don't always know where I'm gonna go because you got a lady who's had 3 guide dogs driving the show. Yeah, okay. And no, I don't have a guide dog presently, but you can find a video on my channel that says meet my 3 guide dogs, and you can hear all about them. And guess what? There's got to be more videos about my guide dogs. I've made that decision. You're gonna get to hear more about them. So, but that's who's in charge of the show. So if we get off the paved road, hey, it happens in my video. So I didn't know what I want to talk about totally. I mean, I have an idea, right? I do have an idea, but I didn't know, so I just brought a huge pile in my knits. And I'm like, just surround yourself with your designs, with your stuff, the beautiful thing that you made. Just hang out with it. Touch all this wool and this cotton and, you know, all this lusciousness. Just touch it. So that's what we're doing tonight. And of course, I'm even wearing, by the way, I like to describe things on my channel for other people who are blind or visually impaired, because that's one of the things I'm doing on here. Let me talk about that. Well, let me describe my dress first for other people who are blind or visually impaired. I not only knit this dress, I did design it myself. It is black. It is made out of the Knit Picks We Crochet yarn that is Snuggle Puff. It is cotton and nylon. Now that is a discontinued yarn. You might be able to find a little bit of it in the clearance section. If you want to find it, look under the clearance section. You might still find some in yellow. You might not. It might be too late to get it. Am I sad? Yeah, I'm sad. Not only is my black dress made from it, but I have a beautiful purple top made out of the same yarn as well. Yeah, I love that yarn. So it is black. It is a circular yoke. It is seamless, one piece top down. We got some feather and fan on the top. Then we got some, I used the feather and fan for my increases for the bust. And then after the arms, right after we separate for the arms, then I did some decreases, did some waist shaping, and then put some feather and fan on the bottom, and of course flared that out too because I love that, love it. So I thought, how appropriate, right? Wear your black feather and fan dress that you knit and designed yourself for your party, for your celebration, right? Couldn't think of, well, I got a lot of other things I could have worn, but I thought there's not a better way to celebrate 50 videos on a yarn channel than wearing my own little black knit hand creation. So, anyways, what am I doing on YouTube? Where are we going in our journey? Let's talk about the first thing we gotta do. Now, I got a small order in from Premier. I'm gonna say I got this box in like a week ago, and I was debating, do I do a Premier yarn haul video with it? And I was like, no, because it's really kind of a small, for a yarn order, it's really pretty small, because I've always said budget and space, right? Trying not to shop. But I'm not gonna lie, this channel, I'm kind of shopping a little bit more than I have been, because I'm like, ooh, it's an investment in your channel. You could do this, you could do that. But I still wait for sales. If you watch my channel, you know I love yarn sales. I love to do yarn sale videos and show you some of the yarns that are on sale and my thoughts about them. So this is a very small order. It's from Premier. It's only got 2 different yarns in it. But there were yarns that I wanted to play with. I wanted to get into my hands, but of course I was going to wait till they went on sale, because that's how I am. Everything's expensive. So a few weeks ago, Premier put their kitchen cotton, the Premier Home Cotton, on sale, and these little 3-packs were 3 skeins for $4. That is a good deal, okay? That's like $1.33 a skein a yarn. That's a good price. These are about 85% cotton, I think it's recycled cotton, and 15% polyester. They're about 131 yards. And I am excited for sure to work with these. I want to come, it's like a utilitarian kitchen cotton. So I want to compare it to other utilitarian kind of kitchen cotton, like the Dishy, like the Lily Sugar and Cream. I like Lily Sugar and Cream. A lot of people don't like it. Yes, it's rough on your hands, but it's very budget friendly, and it's hard wearing. It gets softer as you wash it if you can get through the working with it. And it's a very practical cotton for, household stuff. Now, is it a garment cotton? No, I don't make garments beyond bucket hats, which this bucket hat is not made of. This bucket hat is made out of the Knit Pigs We Crochet, comfy, worsted, and it is purple. It's the color Blackberry, I believe. I think. But anyway, I just wanted to compare the Premier home cotton to the other sort of, hard wearing household kitchen type cotton. So when it went on sale, of course, I got the cone, my previous order, which is in my Premier Yarn Haul video. I did get the big cone of cranberry, and that's a very nice holiday cotton. But then I was thinking, you should get some white in case you want to do like some holiday stuff with it. Maybe some holiday placemats or something. So then of course I had to get the green. So now I got 2 packs. I got 3 in the white, 3 in the green to maybe do something holiday with that cranberry. Just to try it out. Maybe some holiday dishcloths. Maybe some placemats. I don't know. But I'm ready. You might see me doing some Christmas stitches soon. Just to try out Premier Home Cotton. So yes, I'm all about the sale, and that's why you see sale videos on my channel. And then they do have it in the stripes. Now, I said, I'm colorblind, and so sometimes it's super, super hard for me to pick out colors with the different stripes. I mean, the names don't, if you can't see any color like me, and you never have, some of those color names on the stripes and the multis don't make sense. So I couldn't make sense out of a lot of them. But the Americana, I assumed, was red, white, and blue. So I went ahead and went with that just to be safe and know what I was getting. So I also have a 3-pack of that. We'll see what kind of fun we can whip up with that. And then, I love to listen to Glenda and Cody over at Creative Grandma. This is her Victorian star blanket behind me. And the 6 colors, and the brindle, and the canary, and the red, and the Dublin, and the pea pod, and the sienna. Those are the colors. And I love her videos. And so she does have a video out there I saw a while ago. I remember when she showed us the blanket made out of the puzzle shimmer. Now, it is called her Easy Crochet Christmas Sparkly Blanket. And I was all about sparkly. You got me with sparkly. Okay, you did. And I was like, ooh, I need a sparkly blanket. So I really wanted to make that blanket. But, I wasn't going to buy the yarn till it went on sale. So a few weeks ago, Premier put the puzzle shimmer on sale. Yeah, they did. And so I did have to get it. I did. So I got the 3 colors that Glenda made her blanket out of. I got the Jax, I believe it's called Jax or Jack Frost or something like that. And these are pretty big. These are, I think, about 200 and, I want to say, I looked at them, they're about 246 yards, I believe. I believe that's what she said in her video. The white is kind of a whitish gray. I think kind of a whitish, silverish gray. It's not all white, I can tell that. But it's definitely sparkly. So she used the white. And she used the checkers, which is a red. I mean, look at that. These yarns are multi and sparkly. They are so beautiful. And then, let's see what else. What else? Oh, she used the maze. Yes, the maze. Now, I am so, and we're even going to look at the maze. I'll take it out of there so you can see it. Look at that. These are some nice hefty skeins too. They are a number 5 yarn. I don't remember what price I paid for them on sale. I know that they're, I want to say like 98% acrylic, I think. And something like 2% of the metallic. Now you can feel the metallic. I can tell you that right now. As I touch the yarn, I can definitely feel the sparkle in there. But it feels, it's not the softest acrylic, but it's a soft acrylic. It is. Yeah, I felt acrylics that are definitely not as soft as this. So I think it's going to make a nice blanket. And I'm super grateful that she said the color maize was green. Because as somebody who's colorblind, I always assume maize is yellow, like corn, right? So I'm like, Meg, that must be yellow. I thought, that's really interesting for our Christmas blanket. And then, of course, she said it was green. And I was like, oh, thank you. So that made it shopping for me so much easier. So now I have the yard for the blanket, and I'm so excited. Now, when am I going to make it? I don't know, because I don't know if I want to make a blanket right now. I got so many thoughts, so many ideas. A blanket's a big project. Do you guys really want to watch me make a blanket? That could take like a week. The Victorian star blanket took me a week, okay? That's definitely the one thing about having a YouTube channel. I'm just going to tell you, it definitely changes how you knit and crochet. It does. Like, I knit myself. I've been knitting baby blankets for years, and finally, in the end of 2023, I decided I should knit myself my very first blanket. And I thought, if you're gonna do it, you should go big, right? Made myself a queen-sized vine lace cream off-white blanket. It's beautiful. I almost brought it in here tonight, but it is really big. I mean, it's that queen-size blanket, which is bigger than this bed that we hang out on. This bed is just like a full-size bed, right? So that's a queen-size blanket. It is big. And it took me 29 days of working on that blanket. So, you know, I want to make another blanket, but you guys probably don't want to watch me make a blanket for 29 days. I mean, really? So that might be kind of boring for y'all. So it definitely, I love having a YouTube channel. I love showing off my products. I love hoping that I can inspire people. I hope that I can be a voice out here that says to people that, you know, that's what I wanted to do. Like, I love watching all the other crafters out there. I love seeing their projects. I love getting ideas from them. But I definitely was like, you know what, though? I don't see anybody who's visually impaired out there with a channel. And I know some people give up knitting and crocheting as they experience vision changes, or they stop using certain colors because they can't see them anymore. And so for me, as you can see from my knit dress, I got no problem knitting in black at all. It doesn't bother me because I can't see anyway. I knit and crochet by feel. I got this beautiful black sweater that I did not design, but I still love. And it's got lace down the center. It's got some cables. It's got a big circular yoke. It is also top down. It's got a scoop neck. I love this sweater. And it is made out of the Valley Yarns Haydenville. So it doesn't bother me to work with black at all. So, you know, I noticed that out there in the YouTube-verse, the YouTube world, right, that there's nobody out there who's visually impaired out there doing content creation. And I really want to encourage anybody who's visually impaired, who's looking for a hobby, who's looking for a way to be creative, to try knitting and crochet. It's totally tactile. The hardest thing for me is color. And also, if you're having vision changes, don't stop knitting. Don't stop crocheting. It really is muscle memory. Your body, your hands know the motions. Keep doing what you know. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about is when I first started doing this channel, I would open it, I'd put it in a video editing app, I'd open with a picture that says, welcome to my channel, and then I'd close with a picture that says, thank you for watching, and that's spelled out in blue and red yarn, and I do like to try to remember to describe that. So, I'm thinking about putting those back in tonight. It does mean I gotta use the editing app. It is a pain, it takes much longer to upload, but I'm thinking about putting those back in tonight. So if you're blind or visually impaired, that's what it is. I also don't like to put them in if I don't tell people in the video, because I don't like to put things in my video that are not described for people who are blind or visually impaired. So I'm thinking about putting that back in. But there's a couple other things I want to talk about tonight with y'all. One is sort of like the name of my channel, because I really wasn't sure when I started doing my channel, I just was like, what do I want to name it? And I even tried to change my name on my YouTube channel. I did. I didn't want my last name on there, and YouTube wouldn't let me take it out. I was like, what? Now there has to be a way to edit that. I am going to go back in and try to change it. Now at this point, Mei Wong is out there, but you know what? There's a lot of Mei Wongs in the world. So, and yes, I am half Chinese. But there are a lot of Mei Wongs out there. But my YouTube name right now is Mei Wong. I think it's 5993 Creative Castle. And that was what I was playing with, my channel name. Because I wanted it to have something to do with creativity. But
Yarn Joy
I
Podcast.
didn't
Crochet
want it.
AC2C blanket using join as you go method part 2. Right-handed.
I didn't just want it to be about knitting. And I didn't just want it to be about crochet. And I did think about some kind of like yarn name, right? Like there's Shannon with another yarn, and I watch her regularly, and that's
Yarn Joy
totally,
Podcast. Crocheting AC2C blanket using join as you go method part 2. Left-handed.
that's totally cute. You know, I watch Terry's Yarn Joy podcast. So I watch a lot of different channels out there. So I definitely thought about, you know, something to do with yarn. But then I started thinking about it. I thought, you know what, though? You're probably like going to talk about your disability too, because there's not really a lot of channels out there of visually impaired people who are talking about disabilities on YouTube. And I think that's also what I should be doing here, is educating and talking about visual impairments and disabilities on my channel. And yes, I do have a few videos on that on my channel. I have the one about my guide dogs, and I have one about the whole process of creating that picture that says welcome to my channel. I've got one about an Amazon package where we actually go outside with my white cane and walk around, and that's an Amazon package. And then I have a follow-up to the Amazon package about disclosing disability. So you can definitely find videos about disability on my channel if you're looking for that. Now I know if you love yarn, you might not be interested in that, and that's totally okay. You can skip those videos. That's fine. But I want to talk to you about sort of the name of it. I knew I wanted it to not just be about yarn. And but I didn't want it to just be about disabilities. Like I think there's like a blind stitcher or something already out there. And and I'm not totally blind. So I don't want to say blind stitcher, because there's lots of totally blind people who always tell me that, like, you're not blind, May. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm only blind in the sunlight. I get it. It's only when I'm outside in the daylight. You know, and I do get a lot of headaches and migraines from light, and in the daytime I can't even open my eyes for very long. Some days I can't hardly see at all around my own house on bright sunny days. So it's an odd condition. I've been this way my whole life. It's still kind of odd to me. So it's totally okay if you're like, that's really odd. It is really odd to be blind during the day and then to be able to see some at night. It's very different, okay? Like, the sighted world doesn't get it. The blind world doesn't get it. And it's okay. But I am here to help educate people about that. That there's not too many of us people like that in the world. But we do exist, okay? We're out here. So I do want to talk about that more on my channel. And there will be more. And I've also was working on my memoir. In 2022 and 2023, I was working on writing my memoir. For a couple of years, and I'm thinking that I want to start talking more about that on my channel. So I think you're going to find some videos about my memoir on here. I think we're going to talk about it, and if you don't want that, that's totally fine. It's like, if you're like, nope, yarn only, that's fine. It doesn't offend me at all. But I do think I'm going to talk about it more. I do have a video about Not Your Therapist Thursday. I think we are going to bring some mental health topics in here, because if you don't know, in a previous lifetime, I went to college for 10 years. I got my undergraduate, master's, and doctorate in psychology, and I worked at college counseling centers as a psychologist. So that's where I did my training, and so mental health is important to me. I would not have spent 10 years on public transit with a guide dog if I wasn't like serious about mental health and working as a therapist and passionate about those topics. So I think you are going to find some of that on my channel as well. So I know that's not going to appeal to everybody, right? You're like, I just want yarn. It's fine. I don't want disability stuff. That's fine. You want mental health stuff. That's fine. You know, find what you like. I got some cooking videos on my channel. We might get back in the kitchen and do some cooking videos too. That's kind of fun. So you're going to find all kinds of things about my life. And that's what I was thinking about when I was thinking about Creative Castle, because I didn't just want it to be about yarn. Because as somebody with a disability, right, I cook different than you. I use things like a talking thermometer to check temperature on meat. I use things like Braille on my microwave. And I have some YouTube shorts on those. And I did not even count those in my video count. I don't count YouTube shorts in my video count, right? They're shorts. So, but there's a couple videos about that. I talk about my life living out on a rural property as a non-driver. I'm using a lot of prepper products, those kinds of things. So I have to be creative. I have to cook with my ears. I have to listen for water to boil. I cook with my hands. I cook with my, sense of smell. So I cook differently. I do a lot of things that take creativity, and I've done that my whole life. I'm sort of, having to do things differently than the majority of people. And so to live my life, it also takes creativity, right? You got to think outside the box when you can't drive and you live miles from a bus stop and you can't see things. So, so I knew that I wanted my channel name to have more than just yarn in it, more than just stitching, not necessarily blind, but yeah, I still need to adapt, most things in life. I have to be creative about how I do so many things in life. And so I knew that I wanted my channel name to have something to do with creativity, because the creativity piece in my life is so much bigger than knitting and crochet. It just is. It's like creativity in the kitchen, creativity with getting information, creativity with finding my packages out there. It just, life takes me doing things differently. And so I knew I wanted to share those aspects of my life on my channel. And so I knew I wanted creativity of some kind, creative something, in my channel name. And so that's kind of why, and I thought, well, because you're creative in your house too. You're creative how you cook. You're creative how you do life. And so I went with Creative Castle. Is it going to stay that way? I don't know. It could change. I could change my channel name. If I can, I might. But I do kind of like Creative Castle for now, because I think, excuse me, I have allergies. So, and it's springtime where I live. So, I kind of like the Creative Castle name because I feel like it's, creativity with my life. When you see me in the kitchen, I'm doing some things differently than how you do it. So, that for me was like, oh, it should represent your life, your castle, when you do in your home, not just with your stitching. Yes, it's primarily going to be stitching, but we're also going to talk about life. So I think for now, the Creative Castle works, but I'm also wondering if I should just, sort of say that from now on, like, from the Creative Castle show, or I don't know if I want to call it a podcast, the Creative Castle podcast, Creative Castle show, just welcome from the Creative Castle. I don't know. We might have to start that up. I'm not sure. It might be greetings from my Creative Castle. That might be how we got to start the show. I don't know. It's, as I've said, my YouTube channel is very much still a work in progress, just like all my beautiful makes, right? Just like I just cast this off for the second time. Yeah, if you watch my video number 49, the little baby booty I was working on, I did rip it. I ripped it, I frogged it.
Fox News.
I was
Spokane County
looking
Sheriff
at that
Chaplain
yarn.
MSNBC. Breaking.
I'm looking at that. If you don't know yet, how somebody who's visually impaired uses the internet. They use screen readers, so you are going to hear that some in the background. I don't turn it all the way off. It makes it really, I mean, I do still know where the button, like where to touch my screen to record, but it's definitely harder for me to use my phone and navigate without the screen reader on. I can do certain functions, you know, where I know where they're at on the screen. But I use the same phone as millions of other people. A Samsung Galaxy S23, millions and millions of people have them. It's a screen reader in the settings. All you have to do is go into your settings and YouTube can have that voice coming out of your phone. So I do leave it on. I just turn the volume down low. So you do hear it chattering away in the background with breaking news, with, you know, notifications, whatever it thinks on weather, product recall, salmonella alerts. It just keeps chattering away when the phone is on. When the phone is off, it doesn't do that. So you will hear that in the background. That's just life with me. So anyway, so in that video, I did go ahead and rip out the baby booty. I was looking at that yarn and I thought I could make 2 baby booties, and then I still have some yarn left over, and then it was like probably wasn't going to be enough to make a hat with. So I'm looking at what I have left of that yarn going, you could make a hat out of that. And I want to, of course, like all of us, right, use as much of the yarn as possible, right? Right? We don't want to throw away yarn when we don't have to. We want to stitch every bit of it. So I did rip out the little baby booty I was working on, but never fear. There will be more. As I said in that video, baby booties are great, and baby socks are great stash busters. When you have little tiny bits left of yarn, you can stash bust away. So, but don't worry, I've already got my needles out. I'm casting on something else. I just started this tonight. So, you know, this video is always going to be about yarn because that's my hobby. I absolutely love to knit and crochet. So you're always going to see, you know, yarn. I mean, I do have a mountain of yarn. Okay, I do. So you're going to see videos about yarn, about knitting and crocheting. But I do want you to know that you're also going to see some videos in the kitchen. You're going to see some videos about my memoir. You're probably going to see things on mental health. You know, I'd probably just have to say hello from my creative castle. I think that's what we're just going to do now. Thanks for joining me at my creative castle, because that's how I do life. So we'll see. I don't know. But you're always going to see yarn, you know, but it's not everything that you're going to see. So I'm definitely still playing with the channel, trying to figure what we're doing and where we're going on this journey. But if you're here, I want to say thank you so much for choosing to take this journey with me. Thank you very much. So always feel free to leave a comment, say hello, where you're watching from. As I said, I do use a screen reader. So if you leave a comment, my phone will read it out loud to me. And I do use dictation to get back to you. So, yeah, feel free to say hello. Feel free to let me know what you're working on. If you have a visual impairment, if you have a disability or not. Of course, everybody's welcome here, whether you have a disability or not, whether you're visually impaired or not. Even if you don't knit and crochet, if you just are like, huh, the cooking stuff's kind of interesting, or, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. This channel is for everybody. So maybe you just want to learn about visual impairments. You're going to find more of that. Maybe you're here for the mental health stuff. You might find more of that. So whatever it is, I don't know everything, okay? That's why we got the Google. I don't know everything. So, I mean, if you just ask me random questions, I probably can't help you. There's a lot of things that I don't know in this world. There just is. But, you know, if you have questions about knitting, maybe crochet, maybe visual impairments, feel free to leave them in the comment section. As always, what I like to say is that I don't even talk about a lot of my beautiful projects, but it's totally okay. We will see them. You've seen many of them. You'll see more of them in future videos, I am sure. So, but I think I'm going to end for now. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight to celebrate 50 videos in 90 days. I impressed myself. I did. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I'd be like 39 videos. I thought I was gonna hit that 3 videos a week. That's what I thought I was going to go for. I was like, oh, put out 3 videos a week. That'll be good. That'll be great. Yeah. I was pumping them out for a while. Will I put them out at that frequency in the future? I don't know, because I'm kind of itching to make something bigger. Like the little projects I can get done quickly, right? I can boom, boom, boom. You can whip them out. And that's fun. It's definitely fun to do small stuff and show it off often. But I'm kind of wanting to design some bigger stuff again, like my sweaters and dresses and things that I design. They take more time, okay? They do. They take more time. It takes more time. Like I said, that blanket took me a week. The Victorian Star, my big blanket, my queen size blanket took me 29 days. So, bigger projects. The black sweater, I made this last summer at home on the family vacation. My mom decided that the whole family should do family vacation with her knee surgery so that we could all take care of her and do her physical therapy and the cooking and the cleaning for her during her 2 weeks post-op. So that's what I did last summer for summer vacation, was do PT with my mom 4 times a day and cook and clean and vacuum. But I thought I was going to be home at 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get so much knitting done. I was so excited. I mean, I was excited to do the knitting, right? I was like, I'll get a lot of knitting done. The only thing I got done was the black sweater. That is it. And I was doing the pick up and knit to do the neckline the morning that we left, okay? So the sweater just barely got banged out in 2 weeks. So now normally if I was here by myself, I realized that the vacation is actually here at my creative castle, right? That's where the vacation is. I'm not doing physical therapy with somebody else 4 times a day. I would have probably banged out this sweater in like 8 to 10 days, if I wasn't doing stuff for my mom. But that's okay. That's okay. I did it. I did it for my mom. We kept her out of the nursing home. So, that's what I was doing a year ago. But I do kind of I'm designing a sweater in my head. I'm working on the tank top that you saw on the needles. I got a cardi I'm designing in my head. I got a couple of skirts I'm designing in my head. I got a hat I'm designing in my head. There's so many designs that I have in my head. And then, of course, there's other people's stuff, right? The blanket of Glenda's. Now I got the yarn in the house. I'm like, ooh, you got the yarn in the house. Get that on the hook. So I'm still probably going to do some quick projects in between. But, I sometimes watch some of the other creators like Shannon from Another Yarn or like Krista from The Secret Yarnery. I'm like, how do they have that many whips? How do they have 30 whips? And then as I become a content creator, I'm like, oh, I know how they have 30 whips. I know how. I do now. Because now I'm constantly thinking about stuff for the channel. And I'm like, oh, do that. Oh, do that. That would make a fun video. That would make a fun video. And so I'm trying to balance out my internal, I just want to create with fun video content, because like I said, watching me make the same blanket for 29 days might get kind of boring for y'all. So I definitely am trying to balance the creativity inside of me with creating content that is interesting for you, the viewer. So, it's kind of a struggle, but I think we're going to do it here. I think it's going to work out, but you will probably see me whipping up some small things, and then, starting some bigger things. So working some of my own designs, working some of other people's patterns. I think you're going to see kind of a whole combination. So anyways, like I said, it might be a little less yarn because I've got other topics I want to talk about. And it might be more of my own designs and bigger projects worked in between with, with like big projects and small projects. So anyway, just to let you know that there might not always be and FO, right, a finished object, for Finisher Friday, because I could be busy cranking out a big sweater. And also, when you design your own projects, guess what? You do more frogging. You do more ripping, okay? I do. I sometimes have to rip out projects 3 or 4 times when I design them. In fact, the, oh, did I bring it in here? Did I? The purple. I haven't even talked about this purple tank top. I designed this myself. I designed it during a wildfire. Yeah. In an evacuation zone. I sat in an evacuation zone for days and designed this purple tank top. And I designed these straps myself, and they are got this ruffle and lace on them. I had to do those 3 times to get the stitch count to come out right, to get the length of the strap just right, so that it wasn't too short and it wasn't too long, to get the strap done just right, and then to get the stitch count to come out just right for the lace and the ruffle. Yeah, 3 times. I had to do it and rip it and do it. It was too long. The first time I did it, it was too long, the straps were. Second time I did it, too short. You know it. You know we had to find the Goldilocks strap. Yeah, we did. And I obviously did. So, when you do create your own designs, like this tank top, like that purple tank top, you do a lot more frogging and ripping. And so that's the other struggle that I have, is that, you know, sometimes something might not be done. And sometimes I got projects like the purple yarn that's on the needles. Okay, I cast this on for another project like 3 times, and then I got frustrated with it, and I just set it aside. And it had these purple lace diamonds. I was trying to design a tank top from the straps down. I've never even worked a project like that before. And I always say to myself, maybe you should work something with that construction design first and understand how it works, and then do your own design. Well, nope, that's not how I work, right? Not from the, I don't know where it's at. The granny square skirt. You just saw it. It's here. I brought it in here. So, that was my first bottom up skirt to make. And so, I told myself, maybe knit somebody else's bottom up skirt first before you try to design one. And I didn't. I just designed my own. And so that's what I was doing with this purple yarn initially, was I was making a tank top from the top down. And I must have frogged it like 3 times, and I finally gave up on it. Now that design is still in my head, and I still want to make it, but you know what? It's not its time right now. It's not. That's still very much a work in progress in my head. So I'm going to use this purple yarn. It's the Shine Sport from Knit Pixie Crochet. I'm going to use it for something else. I got another tank top in my head that's going to come out. That's going to happen. And it's the top of a dress. I've knit a dress, which I haven't shown. Don't know if I'm going to show it on here. Don't know when. But I knit this dress. And then I was like, ooh, what if you just do the top as a tank top? I was like, a separate, right? So that's what the goal is with this purple. We'll see what happens. We'll see. My projects kind of always tend to get a mind of their own in the middle of the project, and I'm like, ooh, I wonder what would happen if I did that, right? That's what happens to me all the time, whether it's my own design or somebody else's. I can be in the middle of a project, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I did that. I wonder what would happen if I did that. Should I do that instead? And so, in my mind, I know how this tank top should look because I got it on the top of a dress. But it could totally go in another direction. That could happen. But the other dress top thing that I was working on could still happen in the future. But it could be far in the future. So, anyways, I got so much going on in my head. I think this has been more than long enough. So, as I like to close with, remember, creativity is for everybody, whether you see or you see like me, which is not in color and not really in the daytime and not too much, or you don't see at all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or writing or whatever it is that you do, today it's a great day to craft and create something new, something beautiful, something original. Do it. Alrighty. Well, as always, thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye for now. Maybe we'll take a little field trip to the back bedroom. You want to see the dress on, not just sitting, but on? Maybe we'll do that. I know you want to see it. All right. I'll put you on pause.
Pause. Tap and stop
The
recording
creative
button.
people, I promise
tap
you
play.
a field trip to the master bedroom so you could see the whole dress. Here it is. You got the feather and fan across the top on the yoke. You got some waist shaping. Of course, I flared it back out to show you the feather and fan on the bottom. It is fun. It even spins and twirls. Woo, look at that. That is fun. It is cotton, it is light, it is airy, it is comfortable, and of course it was the perfect hand knit homemade design to celebrate 50 videos in 90 days. Thank you so much for coming along on the journey with me. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.
Pause.